everyone, and welcome to Autocrat. This is episode 70, Iliad Part XII, Let Me Bury My Son.
Nice jolly theme today.
Yeah. We ended last episode with Achilles killing Hector with a spear to the neck and then dragging his body around the city of Troy. So now we go on to the last two books of the Iliad. Yeah, you heard that right, the last two.
Crazy.
With that, on to book 23. We open with the Grisk retreating back
I meant to put Greeks and you know it.
I know. Retreating back towards the fleet as Troy mourns. Troy's a person now.
What?
This is Sassing You Day.
Yes, it is apparently.
Everyone relaxes, including you guys, except for the Myrmidons.
It's impressive that all our listeners were there in the Trojan War. Listeners, write in. What was it like?
Achilles tells the
Myrmidons.
that they will keep their chariots in order and lead a funeral procession in honor of Patroclus. Achilles puts his hand on Patroclus' chest as the procession happens and tells him to rest easy. Rest easy, Patroclus. He's killed Hector and is now going to sacrifice 12 Trojan young nobles to satiate his rage. Why not?
Ooh.
Achilles throws Hector's body face first into the dust and then sacrifices of oxen and other animals happen.
Yeah, sure. Funeral stuff.
The rest of the Greek kings take Achilles away to eat with them at this point. The messengers try to get Achilles to wash the blood and grime off himself, but he refuses, taking an oath that water will not touch him until Patroclus' body has been burnt and taken care of. Agamemnon agrees to order wood gathered in the morning for the pyre, and we get the usual feasting before everyone settles in.
My question is, they've been here 10 years. How do they keep finding enough resources for constant banquets?
Because stuff grows, Vincent.
That's your answer? Because stuff grows? Excellent. Now that we've got that sorted.
Achilles, now tired, flops down on the beach and falls asleep. He probably snores. The ghost of Patroclus comes to him in his dream.
Achilles! Bury me, you lazy pig!
The ghost accuses Achilles of forgetting him. After all, he's still not been buried. Go take care of that. Seems a little harsh given what Achilles said 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, and how has he forgotten you? He's been talking about nothing but you for however many books it's been now.
The ghost has to hold Achilles' hand, lamenting that they won't see each other until Achilles dies, and asks that their bones be buried together, just as they grew up together. Alright, how can you hold hands? You're a ghost.
It's a dream. I'm assuming that's fine.
Right, dream logic.
Yeah, dream logic.
Achilles calls Patroclus dear heart at this point. My dear heart. We might convince you one way or the other to what's going on here.
Yeah, we're just going to leave that there.
Achilles and Patroclus are together. Confirmed.
Okay, I was going for the let's leave it up to the listeners approach, but that works too.
He agrees to everything but asks Patroclus that they hold each other even if only for a little while. He reaches out his arm, but Patroclus vanishing under the earth. That's sad. Achilles sleeps up and mourns, his noise waking the other
Myrmidons
up. Everyone is still mourning when dawn breaks. Cut to Agamemnon ordering wood to be collected in the morning and the funeral of Patroclus.
Sure.
The
Myrmidons
are arranged in their finery. Achilles cuts off a lock of his red hair or burn, apparently, which had been growing ever since he had it dedicated to the Spercheios river in the middle of Greece.
Now, this is a whole story. Basically, it's just that his dad had said Achilles' hair would not be cut until he'd won back the land of his forefathers, in honour of the river. Apparently, he'd pledged that when Achilles came home from the war, this hair and 50 sheep should be sacrificed on the banks of the river. It's a whole thing. Achilles knows he isn't going home, so he's a bit upset with the god for that. Instead, he's going to give this lock of hair to Patroclus.
Alright. He places it in Patroclus' hand, and Achilles asks Agamemnon to clear the crowd out for their lunch, leaving only the chief mourners. Because you have chief mourners.
Yeah, and also he did the thing like in movies where he orders everyone out!
Sacrifices are piled on the pyre, as are honey and horses with the over-enthusiastic Achilles throws on.
Oh, I like to imagine these horses were just minding their own business, and Achilles shows up and bodily flings them onto the funeral pyre.
He also kills 2 of Patroclus' 9 pet dog and throw them on. That's rude.
That's drawing the line. Those dogs didn't do anything.
Now, finally, those 12 Trojans get killed. Are the animal considered Trojan?
I don't think there's a beagle in a Trojan uniform which is getting slaughtered here.
He wails aloud and threatens to feed Hector's body to the dogs, despite the fact that the gods have in fact been preserving Hector's body.
I mean, fair's fair. They did that for Patroclus.
After some delay and a prayer to the winds, the pyre catches on fire. The flames burn until the next morning. When the fire goes out, the worn-out Achilles drops off to sleep next to it. However, it was prevented from dozing off by the other kings. They collected the remains of Patroclus and sealed them in a jar. Is it that king's jar?
You mean the canopic jars?
I mean the jar that the king kept here.
Oh, Eurystheus.
Is it his jar?
It might be. I mean, we've had descendants of Heracles running around who are relations of Eurystheus, so maybe. Maybe Tlepolemus just brought it along for the fun of it.
We then get funeral games.
Nice.
First, you're gonna love that one. There's the chariot races.
Ooh.
And guess what's the prize?
I don't know.
Woman!
Yeah. Oh.
But that's only if you win.
Oh, good. Good.
Second place gets a pregnant mare with a mule. And third place gets a kettle.
Right.
Does the third place have to be British?
Maybe. I don't know if that's what I would go for. Like, that seems a very drastic reduction. Like, a woman, a mare who's about to give birth to a mule, and some ironware.
Maybe they didn't mean kettle and they meant cattle.
No, it definitely said kettle, but maybe the third place was just a really British man twirling his moustache going, oh, jolly good show, old chap.
Well, fourth place gets 2 gold pieces, which I feel like should go to first, but you know.
Maybe go to that woman who can then stop being handed round.
And fifth place gets a pan.
Alright.
I mean, if the second place, the third place, and the fifth place get together, they can cook a nice meal.
What's the kettle doing in that equation?
Boiling water.
Alright, yeah. I guess I didn't consider we were making mare mule soup.
Achilles announces he won't take part as his horses are grieving for Patroclus, because horses grieve.
How expressive?
Yes,
well, they do, but how expressive are the faces of these horses that Achilles can figure that out? He's not particularly the most sensitive guy, even when it comes to people.
Nestor gives some advice to his son Antilochus, who is competing on how to ride, and Diomedes also competes with those horses stole off Aeneas.
Yeah, from earlier in the books.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Menelaus is also there.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna skip the race, except to say that even here Athena cheats and helps Diomedes.
Obviously, everyone loves Diomedes.
So, you know, he wins.
Yeah. So he gets that woman.
Antilochus comes second.
I bet he's going to be really happy with that pregnant horse.
Menelaus comes in third. Meriones is fourth.
Yeah, I think we mentioned him once or twice.
And Eumelus is coming last.
Right. Yeah, this man is basically pulling his own chariot and urging his horses on. He essentially looks pathetic. Achilles
feels sorry for him and gives him the second prize. Okay, that's not how anything works, but
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, his logic is that he's supposed to be the best charioteer, but he's come in last. Why bother having the race then, if you're just going to do it based on who you think should win?
Antilochus protests, so Achilles instead decides to give Eumelus something extra from his hut.
Antilochus was whiny.
He gets a sword
Ooh.
that Achilles took off a dead guy.
Oh, less cool.
Menelaus is angry at Antilochus as he cuts him off during the race, pouting that Antilochus' horse are a lot slower and really he only won with a trick.
I mean, this guy is threatening to basically do terrible things to these horses because of who his father is if they didn't run faster, so yeah, that checks out.
Antilochus offers him the mare, but Menelaus calms down and turns it down, accepting the apology. Okay, so that was an apology.
Yeah.
The next contest is a boxing match between the Aurelius and Hippias.
Yeah, for those who couldn't tell what was going on there, I just got a few mock punches.
We're not going to get into who these people are or their background, unlike the Iliad.
It really loves pedigrees.
Hippias beats Aurelius.
Short version of that.
The third came is a wrestling match
I meant game. Why do you do this to me?
with an expensive cauldron for the taking. I win Harry Potter. Ajax and Odysseus put themselves forward. It goes on for so long that everyone gets bored. Ajax says either one of them has to win or else someone else has to try because, this is getting ridiculous.
Fair enough.
Ajax then lifts Odysseus into the air, but Odysseus responds with a kick in the back of the knee.
Ah.
I'm assuming that means Ajax throws Odysseus over his back or something.
Yeah.
It carries on a while longer until Achilles just declares they're both won. Both take a prize and leave. I guess they were too cauldron.
Get out of my sight.
We then get a race with first place getting a silver ball, second place an ox, and the others half a gold coin.
Okay.
So is it a gold coin they snap into?
Yeah, that's how they used to do things. I think that's how they did it with, for example, £0.50 in the old days. They just break a pound coin in two. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true.
Quote him. Odysseus prays to Athena to help him, and she gives him a boost.
Because Athena is fair above all things.
Also, Ajax falls face first into a cow pat.
Nice.
Whatever that is.
A cow poo.
Oh.
We get a poop joke
Yuck.
in the Iliad.
Odysseus wins, catching up to Ajax when he falls. Ajax swears Athena trimmed him up, but the rest of the army just responds by laughing at him.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Antilochus comes last and gets half a gold coin, but essentially flatters Achilles into giving him another half. Like, hey, Achilles?
I don't...
Look, my half a coin looks very lonely, doesn't it?
Look, I don't have the rest of the text here. I don't think he tries to seduce Achilles.
And Achilles probably like, go away, here you go.
Get out of my sight, crazy man.
He's like, I will if you give me the other half.
It's like, here's half a gold coin, just go away. So he files a restraining order on Antilochus, but then
we basically get a gladiator fight between Diomedes and Ajax. Understandably, Diomedes wins.
Well, obviously Diomedes wins.
So handily, in fact, that the audience worry for Ajax's life. We get more fights and more prize, including an archery contest with which chooser wins.
Yep.
And that's how book 23 ends, with these funerals games, because you do games at funerals.
Yeah. Alright, well now we come to book 24. This is the final book of the Iliad.
Woot woot!
In my edition, just over 20 pages are left until we finish the Iliad forever.
Yeah.
We open with Achilles still grieving over Patroclus, unable to shake him from his mind. Day after day, Achilles just wanders round aimlessly, sometimes crying and sometimes just lying on the beach. Sometimes he pulls Hector around Patroclus' grave 3 times for fun.
Alright.
Because you know what you do when you're grieving, you desecrate another corpse. Apollo is still protecting Hector's body, by the way, so there's that at least. Yeah, the gods still feel sorry for Hector and the way Achilles is treating him, because obviously they do. Hera, Poseidon, and Athena, however, are not following along with the rest, who are hinting Hermes could swipe the body from Achilles. These 3 still hate Troy, so Hector's an obvious representative of that. On day 12 of all this going on, Achilles decry Apollo...
No, Apollo.
Yes, sorry, I meant Apollo. Thank you.
Did you?
Apollo decries Achilles' brutality towards Hector.
Are you sure?
No, I think it was... Hera bristles and says that Hermes praising Hector for his piety is all very well, but the 2 men are not equal. Hector is just a mortal, and Achilles is a demigod whose mother was raised by Hera herself. That said, Hera has a solution. Someone go and get Thetis. Achilles...
Alright.
No, not now.
Oh.
Later,
okay.
or rather earlier. Achilles needs to ransom Hector back to Priam. Iris summons Thetis, who appears before Zeus. Apparently, Athena gives up her chair for her, which is a detail I didn't know we needed. Zeus summarises the whole situation, saying Achilles needs to give up the body he's been holding on to in his fury. Thetis rushes down and meets her son, who's making breakfast. Sheep meat, apparently. She asks him how much longer he's going to let his sorrow consume him. The gods are unhappy with him, not least Zeus, and he must ransom Hector's body back to his father. Achilles agrees. Meanwhile, Zeus predictably orders Iris to go to Priam. He is to give the ransom, after all. Don't worry about your safety. Hermes will escort you to ensure it. Iris finds Priam and his sons weeping and gives him the news. Priam's sons get a cart ready, and Priam informs his wife of all this. Hecabe thinks this is stupid, given that Achilles has already killed lots of Priam's sons. In his defence, I will say, not all of those were him, not all of them. Priam is unmoved, and loads the cart with riches, shooing loiterers away. He even beats a few of them and yells at his own sons. Yeah, this grief process is going really well, right?
Clearly.
In fact, he wishes all 9 of his sons had been killed instead of Hector. Way to build bridges.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad. They need to get a move on with the cart.
Yeah, I bet that frightens the son a bit and they get in it immediately.
Oh, yeah. Like a Looney Tunes character, I bet. You know how their legs spin around like wheels? Yeah, they become the Roadrunner. You know, maybe they haven't seen their father angry like this before, who's to say? At the last, when they're ready to go, Hecabe appears and gives Priam a cup of wine to make an offering to Zeus, which he does, and Zeus sends an eagle as a sign, which the couple are thrilled by. Zeus then sends Hermes to accompany Priam, who flies towards Troy and assumes the guise of a random prince. Night falls and the cart stops at the grave of Ilus so the horses can rest. Priam's attendant spots Hermes and thinks it's a robber. Priam's understandably frightened, but Hermes reassures him and then interrogates him about where this cart is going. Once Priam confides and reminisces a bit about his son, Hermes convinces him that, he's an attendant of Achilles. Achilles still has the body, by the way, but it's been preserved and its wounds have healed. Definitely the random prince, not Hermes, escorts them towards the Greek fleet and towards Achilles' dwelling before revealing himself as, "Surprise! I was actually Hermes this whole time," and vanishing. It's so random.
Yeah.
Priam enters the hut and Achilles looks up from the party he's apparently having. Probably the I hate Hector so much I'm glad he's dead party.
How many people are there?
Just Achilles. Staring at Hector's body, unmoving. Priam hugs Achilles' knees and kisses his hands, begging Achilles to have his son back. He had 50 sons, 19 of them by one mum and others by various other women. Now, most of them are dead, including Hector. Achilles is reminded of his own dad by Priam's speech and is almost ready to cry. The two of them weep, and Achilles says that they and all men are just playthings of the gods. However, Achilles exhorts Priam not to cry. He will not bring Hector back by doing so. Priam is insistent, as you would be, on getting his son's body back. However, his needling irritates Achilles. He'd already decided to give Hector back.
I think you mean the Cid.
No, I do not. He'd already decided to give Hector back. Quit pushing him, old man. Besides that, he knows a god brought him here. Nobody else could have snuck through the Greek lines like that. Achilles takes everything that Priam had given him from the cart, except for some cloaks and a tunic for Hector to be wrapped in on the way back. Some female servants anoint and wash Hector, somewhat separate from Priam, so he doesn't fly into a rage and Achilles won't end up killing him.
Charming.
Yeah, I really have grown to hate Achilles over the course of the Iliad. Incidentally, this is just a fun little nugget for us. He tells Priam the story of Niobe in a sidebar which we covered when discussing the House of Tantalus.
Very nice.
Achilles and Priam then eat together and examine each other with respect. Priam asks if he can go to sleep. He's exhausted and hasn't slept since Hector died. So that's 12 days at least by now?
Yeah, but then they say that it's also the first food and drink he's had, and he wouldn't have survived.
He might have survived the eating stage. I'm not sure how long you'd need without drinking. I think it's only
3
a few days.
And eating is 5 or a week.
I think it's a month actually with food.
Oh yeah, food is a month, but drinking is like 3-5 days.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe he just got it all through his skin. Maybe he's a frog. Maybe he got moisture through his skin like an amphibian.
Croc.
Okay, Priam is a frog.
Yes.
Achilles gets a bed made up for him. Maybe a lily pad.
Oh.
Although he says it has to be in the forecourt rather than the main hut, since if one of the other Greeks came into his tent, as they frequently do, and they spotted Priam, Agamemnon would find out, and it would be a lot longer before he got Hector back. Presumably, paperwork or Agamemnon tried to kill him.
Yeah.
They discuss Hector's funeral a bit and then retire for the night. Not that Hermes lets Priam sleep for very long, as he's worried about the guards. He appears to Priam. Surprised! Remember me? It's Hermes. Definitely not that prince. Hermes! And points out that if he gets captured in this camp, his remaining sons will have to pay triple what he just paid for Hector.
Alright, so he still has kids left.
Yeah, he does. You remember he told his sons that he'd rather they were dead instead of Hector?
Oh, yeah.
They were all middle
What a
children,
dad.
presumably. Priam gets nervous and wakes all his attendants up to leave. The Trojans slip out of the camp at daybreak. They make their way back to Troy, and Cassandra is the first to notice them.
Of course I am.
I had forgotten we did that whole thing. Yes, you were the first to notice them. How was that?
Yeah, very good.
When he came back with your brother's dead body.
I mean, yeah.
I'm so glad we got this riveting first-hand account. Anyway, she also sees her brother lying on the cart.
Yeah, I bet she would mourn.
She does, and the whole city of Troy does so as well, rushing out to meet Priam as he makes his way towards the city.
So is she a daughter of Priam?
She is.
Oh.
We covered that
Yeah,
in
forgot.
episode 50. Hecate throws herself on her son's body, as does Andromache on her husband's. This mourning would have carried on all day if Priam hadn't told everyone to get on with it. They can mourn for Hector when he's inside the walls. Seriously, we're just sitting ducks out here.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Yeah. Hector gets put on a bed and his wife laments while cradling his head. Hecate also audibly bewails Hector's fate. Even Helen gets in on this mourning action. In the 19 years since Paris took her and married her, remember the Greek fleet has been here for 9 years and they spent 10 years getting ready, she liked Hector best of Paris's brothers. He never approached her despite the rest of the family having a massive go at her. Hector would even stop his family from picking on her. Now she has nobody. People shudder as Helen goes past her. Finally, Priam takes charge of this madness, ordering that a pyre be built. They can get wood safely. Achilles has promised that the Greeks won't attack for the next 12 days. Maybe he said, 1 for every day that I pulled your son around needlessly.
Basically a ceasefire.
Yeah, why are you crying, Priam? Yeah, for 9 days the pyre is built. Then Hector's body is put on it as people cry, and he is burnt. Once it's done, the fire is put out with wine, and his bones are gathered sorrowfully. The bones are placed in purple cloth and put in a box made of gold. This is put in a grave and rocks placed on top. A guard is posted on the grave, and then the Trojans go back inside for a feast to celebrate Hector's life.
And with that, the Iliad
Ends. We've done it.
We have.
How does it feel?
We've been on it for a while.
Yeah. So what did you think of it? Was it what you were expecting from such a
Not
famous
really.
name?
Not really. I mean, I had never read that book before, so
Yeah.
it was a whole discovery.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it more in our summary of chapter 2, I guess, but I really came to hate Achilles.
I bet.
Really annoying.
Poor Hector.
Yeah, poor Hector. And poor Patroclus as well. Poor everyone. Don't do wars. So, do you know what's coming next?
The Odyssey?
Not quite. We've got a little way to go before the Odyssey.
The Aeneid?
No, because we're still in the Trojan War, aren't we?
Alright. Are those not the Trojan War anymore?
No, they are the aftermath of the Trojan War. So, I'm going to announce our roadmap here.
Yes.
We've now finished the Iliad, obviously. So, for, I believe, if we carry on the same pace as we have been doing up till now, for 7 episodes, we will be looking at something called the Post-Homerica, also called the Fall of Troy.
Nice.
I think you can tell how that's going to go.
Spoiler alert, clearly.
Spoiler alert, not well. And then there are 2 books left to cover in chapter 2, one of which is the Odyssey, and the other of which is a set of 3 plays called the Oresteia.
When are we doing the Aeneid then?
That comes right after that.
Alright.
So the Aeneid is the start of chapter 3, for reasons that will become obvious when we get to it.
Alright. Well, thank you guys for listening, and see you next week for not the Odyssey and not the Aeneid.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.
What's my line?
You can make up a line. You can either go like generic ooh noises or just bury me or something like that.
Okay. Well, we'll do a few takes then.
Yep.
Ooh, Achilles, bury me, I'm not Elpenor.
I'm not Elpenor.
Yeah, Elpenor.
I might not include that, seeing as we are not going to be talking about Elpenor for about 15
Okay,
episodes.
fine, that is a bit of a spoiler.
Oh, spoilers!
He's talking to Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ooh, Achilles! Bury me, you lazy pig!
Good. That's what all friendship is about.
Ooh, Achilles, I'm sorry we can no longer kiss.
Okay, I think during the episode we actually say that we're not sure if they're an item or not, but nope, the Ghost of Patroclus said it. You heard it here first.
It's confirmed.
Achilles! I left a piece of pizza in the fridge. You might want to get rid of it or it will go off.
Great, I will be adding the ghost sounds to that.
I left you money in my will, but I'm broke, so you instead earned my debt.
Okay, we will now be stopping the ghost from any further recordings. By the way, this is all going in the outtakes.